Hey guys, this is Sandy with Troglodyne here with George. Today we're going to talk about search and digital marketing and how much of the market today is about showing up, so to speak. Yeah, essentially, the reality that you have to understand is that if you don't understand search engines and how users are actually finding products and services that they actually want to use, other people are going to jump in ahead of you in line. That's really how things work. And more importantly than that, your own opinions are also going to be manipulated by search engines, and you're going to miss out on some things that you possibly could have got with regard to insights and innovations that you are going to need as a businessman. So when it comes to reality, all you have to look at is basically any kind of small vendor or independent business. It's going to be basically 2/3 of their advertising results are going to come from Google, just AdWords and all that kind of stuff, and things like YouTube, all those Google properties, basically.
Right,
And then
because that's your number one and number two search engines in the world, respectively. And
then the rest is Facebook.
yeah,
And basically, Facebook and Instagram are essentially interchangeable as advertisers, but uh, that's really all there is. I mean, I would say LinkedIn is like maybe something, but you can also say some of the other minor social platforms are maybe something, but
it really depends on what kind of niche you're trying to target. Yeah, if
yeah.
you're looking for more generalized stuff, then generally it's going to be Google or Facebook.
Yeah, and the fact is, the vast majority of people, they're not doing specialized searches, even if it's for very, very highly complicated services like I need something that is very, very niche in, say, dog groomers in Houston, right?
Yeah.
That's not a huge demand for that. Or say I want somebody who knows how to do uh, search engine optimization in Dallas, whatever.
Yeah.
Those sorts of things are going to be essentially controlled by whoever understands how to advertise in those things, because the only way you can really target stuff is through these very advanced advertising platforms, and Facebook and Google have the most advanced advertising platforms. They allow you to actually target audiences down to that level of fine control. The only other way you can target audiences in the past in that way was via terrestrial radio sources, which was TV and radio, exactly, because
Yeah.
it got that sort of audience thing from a coarse metric with regard to physical proximity. But from a point of view of could they tell you who exactly was watching it, not really that well. Certainly advertisement has got a lot better, and even if it's not advertising, just straight up search engine optimization, where you're essentially building a spider web to catch everybody who goes and searches uh, X in whatever city.
Right, which is why typically the most successful types of businesses generally have, say, a domain that's a landing page for X that all it does is funnel you back into the main site to try to finish the sale, right?
Yeah, and that's really the core of what we talked about the other day with SEO affiliate marketing. It's basically just outsourcing that piece of the pie to somebody else, because the reality is only a few firms actually do the big amount of work. The rest of it is just going to be trying to drive people into where they actually need to be to get what they want, because the discovery process to figure out what you want is not particularly well understood. And that's why a lot of these platforms are trying to keep you in there and trying to do search suggestions so that they can actually feel out your product discovery pattern. That's sort of what YouTube and all that is built around, is to give you content and then more content sort of like that, right? So that they can then hopefully one of them is going to hit your button that makes you actually buy something, right?
Yep.
That's the whole business model. And it's the same with search engines. They want to keep giving you good results until you start to ask, well, hey, I can trust them for all this other stuff. Maybe they should give me the information on this thing I want to buy. And then that gives you everything you need to know. I would say probably the only other platform that has any search ability besides Google or Facebook is going to be Amazon. But then
that is an entirely different world. It's not services, it's just products.
Well, and also Amazon search has been pretty notoriously bad. There's ways to game it within Amazon, but it's still one of those things where, for the most part, when someone looks for something on Amazon, they Google Amazon product.
Yeah, and it's really unfortunate that so many firms they don't understand that when a dog barks, you can search for that, right? But anyways, the idea is that firms would do a lot better if they actually understood that basically everybody is coming at them from these one or two ways, and that everything you do that doesn't sort of go in, and everything that fights that trend is going to lose. Okay, yeah. So a lot of times people try to build a website, or they try to build a page on like social media or something like that, and they don't understand really how these systems are supposed to work with regard to a website. If you're not doing SEO, if you're not doing the kind of meta tagging, if you're not doing sitemap XMLs, if you're not doing all those things to be found by search engines, you're just your site is going to be irrelevant, and nobody's ever going to actually give you what you need to understand that. And the other thing is, if you don't build authority by constantly putting out content, it's just going to not be real valuable to you, because all it's going to be is a vanity page at best.
Yeah.
What it's going to give you is playing house for potential clients. That's the best you're going to get. And the idea is that if you run a website like that, rather than doing any kind of SEO or anything, any optimization like that, it's just to say, we are professional. And the reality is, vast majority of your traffic being driven to you is actually through Facebook or social or other means.
Or even Yelp reviews, that sort of thing.
And to be fair, that's an entirely viable strategy, because the vast majority of people, let's be fair, they're going to discover most of the products and services they want to through these sort of social services. But the more you rely on the social services means that you're going to have to rely on advertisement more, because they're built to reward that sort of thing, right? Your posts are not really going to be promoted that well to people, even in your target demographic, unless you literally pay them to. That's what they're built to do, you know. So be aware of that. If you really want a very cheap, very lean operation, you don't really have any other choice but to do the quote hard way of building authority and building all of this search engine optimization into a web page somewhere, you know.
Well, or building a whole bunch of separate blogs, separate content that says, hey, buy my free ebook, except it's $0.
Yeah. And
but just as kind of a hook to get you registered in their system, so that then they can hawk more products at you, have you on a mailing list, whatever it is that can cause you to commit some sort of emotional investment in your brand or any of your products. That's what you're basically looking for, getting your foot in that door, and after that you can sell more.
Yeah, because the reality is, until people are paying attention to you, it doesn't matter what you say. And that's the first step for everybody, is get somebody to pay attention to you.
Yeah, because for the most part, when it regards money on the internet, there's a lot of it out there, but you have to show up is the first part.
Yeah, and that's the best way to do it, is to understand search engines and to understand the way the actual advertising economy works, and that there's a lot of money for you to pick up actually pretty straightforwardly if you just understand how the game works, you know.
Then otherwise it's just a matter of doing the work to actually get it done.
All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. See you tomorrow.